Iowa may seem calm with its rolling farmland and small towns, but hidden in its quiet streets and old buildings are ghost stories that send chills down the spine. From haunted mansions and cemeteries to schools and theaters, the Hawkeye State has plenty of places where the past refuses to stay buried. Here are some of the most haunted places in Iowa. Number 1. In the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, sits Villisca Axe Murder House that holds one of the darkest mysteries in American history. On the night of June 9, 1912, Josiah and Sarah Moore, their 4 children, and 2 young visiting sisters were murdered with an axe while they slept. The killer was never caught. Every mirror in the house was covered, the bodies were hidden under sheets, and the doors were locked from the inside. Because justice was never served, many believe the souls of the victims never left, leaving the house frozen in fear and sadness. Visitors to the home have reported chilling experiences that seem to connect directly to that tragic night. One of the most common stories is the sound of a child's voice softly whispering "Mommy" during the night. Paranormal teams have captured this voice on recording devices, even when no one heard it in real time. Several guests have felt physical touches while staying overnight. One woman described the gentle but clear tug on her hair as though a curious child reached out to her. The sensation was so real that she quickly left the room in fear. One of the scariest stories is about a man who saw a sudden bright flash of light and then blacked out. When he woke up, there was a knife stuck in his hand. His family quickly took him out of the house. Even now, no one knows what really happened that night. Number 2. On a quiet lane surrounded by farmland sits Edinburgh Manor, a grand old building that once served as Iowa's Jones County home. Originally a 19th century poor farm, it evolved into a mental health facility, and the countless years of suffering, abuse, and death left emotional scars that some believe still linger. The basement holds some of the manor's darkest energy. Doors slam themselves, visitors feel invisible hands grab or press on them, and one spirit, nicknamed the Joker, roams here. He's often seen as shadowy forms or orbs, and is known for throwing dishes and leaving marks on people's necks, with many reporting difficulty breathing in his presence. Many guests speak of playful footsteps and childish laughter echoing through the hallways, especially near room 106, where a spirit known affectionately as Susie is said to reside. She seems drawn to toys, and investigators have noted toys moving on their own or appearing where they weren't before. People from different online platforms who have stayed overnight share their own strange experiences. One person said they woke up to find all the doors shutting on their own, even though they had already been locked and the building was tightly secured. Number 3. Oakland Cemetery has been the final resting place of many notable Iowans since its founding in 1843, including governors and university presidents. But what draws most attention is the imposing 8-foot-tall Black Angel, a bronze statue as a memorial to Teresa Feldevert's late husband and son. Over time, the statue's bronze surface oxidized into a dark green-black patina, giving it a somber, haunting presence that both fascinates and unsettles visitors. The stories about the Black Angel are just as scary as the way it looks. One popular tale says that anyone who touches or kisses the statue will have terrible bad luck or even die, unless they are a virgin. Another story warns pregnant women not to walk under the statue's wings, or they could suffer a miscarriage. Besides those curses, some people say the statue's eyes seem to follow them as they walk past, something that feels very real and creepy. Stories from people online make it feel more chilling. One person shared a walk through the woods to the cemetery. They said it felt like someone was following them, and when they got close to the statue, they heard a whisper saying, "Welcome." They weren't sure if it was real or not. Number 4. Banwell Bridge, also called Terror Bridge or the Old Tara Bridge, is a small one-lane bridge that crosses the Union Pacific tracks. It has been around since the 1800s, and while it looks simple and quiet, it carries a dark history that people in the area still talk about. The most famous story is about a heartbroken mother who once brought her children to the bridge to watch trains. As a train came closer, she pushed her children off the bridge and then jumped herself. Since then, people warn drivers to keep their doors and windows locked at night when crossing, or they might feel her angry spirit trying to pull them out of the vehicle. Drivers brave enough to stop on the bridge report small orbs of light, muffled voices or moaning in the woods beneath, and even finding handprints on their car windows afterward, as if unseen fingers reached out. A few even claimed seeing shadowy figures darting into the woods, or even a werewolf-like creature near or under the bridge. Number 5. Perched above the Mississippi River, the 23-room Mathias Ham house was built in the mid-1800s by pioneer businessman Mathias Ham. After his passing, and later the deaths of his wives and children, the house gained a reputation for lingering spirits, especially once it became a museum in 1964. One of the most commonly shared ghostly tales involves Sarah Ham's encounter with an intruder, reputedly a river pirate who sought revenge for being captured through Mathias' efforts. Sarah, alone in her room, lit a signal lantern, armed herself, and fired through the door. Her shot was fatal, and his body was later found by the river. Now, some say that the pirate's spirit still roams the third floor, marked by cold spots and uneasy feelings. Another story tells of the pump organ playing itself even when its fuse was removed. A staff member, while unscrewing the fuse to shut off the light, heard the organ play, and the music stopped as soon as the fuse was returned. Some stories even tell of strange lights rising from the river toward the house at sunset, as if someone from the past is holding a lantern and signaling the mansion. Footsteps in empty rooms, and the sound of furniture or objects shifting on their own, sometimes heard descending from upper floors, add to the eerie atmosphere. Number 6. Ambrose Hall, the oldest building on St. Ambrose University's campus, was built between 1885 and 1912 and has served as a chapel, dorm, classrooms, offices, and more over the years. With such a long history and many uses, it's no surprise that legends of hauntings swirl around its halls. Locals often whisper about the spirit of a witch on the 4th floor. The legend first appeared in a 1974 student newspaper article claiming strange happenings, flying chalk darts, and eerie messages on the board. It turned out to be a prank, but the idea of the witch spirit stuck around in campus lore. A darker tale speaks of a seminarian who took his own life in what once housed student priests. Some believe that spirit never left the building. People reported seeing a tall figure in a cassock with dark-rimmed glasses walking the dimly lit 4th floor, then vanishing when approached. Even today, people sometimes catch flickering lights, hear disembodied knocks, or feel watched late at night in the old building. Together, these stories reminding that something unseen might still be listening in the shadows. Number 7. Built in the 1880s as Malvern's first hotel, initially the cottage hotel, the building later housed a nursing and group home for those with disabilities and mental illnesses. Over time, tales of abuse, neglect, and mysterious deaths shadowed its halls, setting the stage for its haunted reputation. One of the most terrifying spirits is known as Hank. He is believed to have been a former resident. Hank is known for throwing stones from the porch at people. He is also said to dislike women, especially those who touch his clothes, which are still kept in the manor. Women who do so often feel shoved by Hank's unseen hands, as if he is daring them to challenge him. In Gracie's room, investigators captured eerie EVPs, her voice crying out, "The devil's coming to get me." Gracie, who suffered from multiple personalities, is said to sometimes pressure male visitors, tugging at their clothing in an unsettling way. Hallway on the 2nd floor also carries many chilling reports. Visitors say they still hear voices, footsteps, and objects moving by themselves, thought to be echoes left behind from the past. Number 8. The Squirrel Cage Jail, built in 1885, is a rare 3-story rotary jail. One of only 3 left in the U.S., it was designed so the pie-shaped cells could spin, and only one cell door could open at a time. Today, it is a museum, but many say the dark and violent past can still be felt inside. There's the unsettling case of Jake Bird, the infamous Tacoma ex-killer who was once jailed here. Legend says Bird cursed those who prosecuted him in what became known as the Jake Bird Hex. Several people connected to his trial, including the judge, clerk, police officers, and defense attorney, died under mysterious circumstances within a year. Some believe his restless spirit still stalks the jail. Visitors and volunteers often say they hear footsteps in the empty halls, even when no one is around, and whispers that make it seem like people are still there after closing time. These sounds aren't the only strange signs. Shadowy figures have been seen drifting past staircases and cell doorways, their shapes more felt than seen. In the old jailer's apartment on the 4th floor, workers often say they feel like someone is watching them. One jailer even refused to live there after often hearing footsteps above him, even though no one was actually there. Many suspect the spirit may be J. M. Carter, the original superintendent who first lived there, still lingering in the home he once watched over. Number 9. Rainbow Bridge, officially the Marsh Rainbow Arch Bridge, arches gracefully over the North Raccoon River. Built in 1914, it's now closed to cars and stands quietly in a small county park. Local legend centers on a chocolate-loving spirit. If you place an unopened chocolate bar at the center of the bridge at midnight and walk away, after 5 minutes you'll come back to find the wrapper untouched, but the chocolate mysteriously gone. Many people who tried this say the trick works, but others tell of even stranger things. One woman said her mother suddenly felt a cold breeze that no one else noticed, and then a black shadow rushed across the bridge. After that, they heard strange clicking and scraping sounds, even though it had been completely quiet before. Number 10. The Hotel Blackhawk, established in 1915, is a historic Davenport landmark that has hosted U.S. presidents, writers, boxers, and celebrities. Its elegant architecture and storied past create a sense of grandeur, and sometimes a lingering presence of another kind. Numerous guests and staff have reported sightings of a woman gliding through the hallways in an evening gown, sometimes red, other times blue. She appears to be on her way to the ballroom or returning from dancing, and vanishes when approached. One of the most frequently mentioned spirits is the ghost of Cary Grant, who suffered a fatal stroke while staying at the hotel in 1986. Many believe his presence lingers, often spotted in room 907 or strolling the long corridors in period attire. A chilling story comes from staff and travelers regarding room 515, located on the notoriously haunted 5th floor. One woman refuses to stay in room 515, claiming an unsettling presence there that makes her uneasy on every visit. Number 11. Farrar Schoolhouse. Built around 1921 to 1922 to serve a rural community, closed its doors for good in 2002 after decades of school life. The building sits opposite a century-old cemetery, and ever since its abandonment, locals and paranormal teams have reported odd incidents that suggest the spirits of the past still linger. One of the most common encounters involves a small boy's ghost on the school's staircase. Visitors described feeling unsteady and sensing a steadying hand on their shoulder, only to turn around and find no one there. Some say the boy's silhouette stood perfectly still on the steps before vanishing. In the gymnasium or auditorium, multiple spirits, believed to be child figures, have been noticed. Paranormal teams recount hearing schoolchildren reciting lessons, singing, and laughing, even when the rooms were empty. Witnesses also mention a tall, dark apparition in the top floor office, possibly a principal-like figure whose presence feels stern and disapproving. In the boiler area, people have heard voices commanding them to get out, amid the sounds of children playing in the distance. Number 12. Built in 1846 to welcome steamboat travelers, Mason House Inn has served many roles: hotel, Civil War makeshift hospital, tuberculosis sanatorium, and station on the Underground Railroad, which means it's seen countless souls pass through. Its long history of life, death, and purpose has left layers of emotion and energy behind. One well-known presence is George, a young boy often seen or sensed on the landing. He's playful, tugging at guests' pajamas, knocking on doors, even rearranging items or playing pranks. A minister once woke to feeling a sleeve tugged, only to remember his wife wasn't with him, a moment that forever changed his beliefs. In room 7, the spirit of Mr. Knaplingers, a traveler murdered after mistakenly entering the wrong bed. Guests describe heavy, oppressive energy, phantom footsteps, and even sensations of being touched, like someone trying to claim the bed. Room 8 hosts one of the eeriest sightings. A floating head of an old man with white hair, sometimes foggy, seen drifting silently across the room, often disappearing when looked at directly. Number 13. The Periwinkle Place Manor began life in 1892 as Chelsea's funeral parlor, run by undertaker Joseph Roebuck. Even after closing in 2003, it stayed rooted in death's echoes. In 2013, owner Jody Phillip restored it as a charming, but deeply eerie, bed and breakfast, where the mortal and supernatural seem to meet. Guests often describe being unsettled by moving dolls and a rocking horse, motions witnessed when no one's near. A sense these toys simply wake up in the stillness feels too vivid to dismiss. During renovations, tools went missing only to turn up in strange places, like atop tall shelves or tucked in cabinets, suggesting playful spirits among the workers. The current owner shared her most spine-tingling moment in the former carriage house, once home to hearses, where she saw a fleeting apparition of a man in a fedora vanishing in a swirl of shadow. Some believe it might have been Joseph Roebuck himself, still keeping watch. Number 14. Built in 1873 under the Kirkbride Plan, Independence State Hospital was the second asylum in Iowa, intended to house a wide range of individuals. Parts of the building are still in active use today, but older wings remain closed and steeped in unsettling history, filled with graveyards, hydrotherapy tubs, and even lobotomy equipment. These elements contribute to its reputation as one of Iowa's most haunted places. People who tour or work in the abandoned wings frequently report chilling whispers and the eerie feeling of being watched. Some speak of disembodied screams echoing through empty corridors, while doors open or close on their own and shadowy figures appear in the dim light. One creepy story comes from a person who lived at the place in recent years. They said they often felt watched at night and had to keep the light on to feel safe. Around 3 a.m., they clearly heard a voice whisper, "Hey," in their ear. The experience left them scared but also more curious about the unknown. Yet another visitor shared how the basement felt instantly unnerving. As soon as they opened a locked metal door, they were hit with a profound sense of dread and the weight of unseen eyes watching them. Number 15. Deep in the woods outside Burlington, Stony Hollow Road winds through gravel paths and bluffs overlooking the Mississippi River. It may look peaceful by day, but local legend whispers of a tragic tale that changed everything. A young bride to be named Lucinda, dressed in white and clutching roses, stood on a cliff one stormy night, waiting for her beloved to elope with her. He never showed, his wagon stuck in the mud, and in despair, Lucinda threw herself off the bluff. From that moment, the road became haunted by her sorrow. A more chilling legend insists that if you call Lucinda's name 3 times at the bluffs, she'll appear, and if she leaves a rose by your feet, death will follow you the next day. Over time, many drivers and ghost seekers reported glimpsing a luminous white figure moving along the roadside between 10 p.m. and midnight, a faint glow thought to be Lucinda's restless spirit calling out in the dark. Some say Stony Hollow Road is connected to the Paulding Light, a strange glowing orb seen at night. Locals speculate it might be an optical illusion, swamp gas, or a lost brakeman's lantern, but many link it to Lucinda's restless energy. Folks exploring or driving down at night often report a sudden drop in temperature, a deep chill that seems to settle in their bones. Whether it's Lucinda's sorrow, the cliff's energy, or just ghostly rumor, it intensifies the feeling that something unseen is watching.